Have you ever wondered how often people underestimate you and how you can turn this to your advantage? This intriguing question brings us to the 21st law of power. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. It's a potent strategy, subtly woven into the fabric of our everyday interactions. The power of appearing less intelligent can be an unsuspecting weapon, a hidden tool in your arsenal. Now stick around as we dive into a captivating story that perfectly illustrates this law. Our tale begins with a seemingly unassuming character, a simple farmer named Jake. Jake is the kind of man who knows the value of a hard day's work under the sun, a man whose hands have been weathered by years of labor. He's the kind of person you might pass by without a second glance, just another man in overalls tending to his crops. But beneath this facade of simplicity, Jake is anything but ordinary. He's a man who understands people, who knows the power of perception. He's a man who has mastered the art of playing the fool to catch the wise. In his quiet rural town, Jake is a respected figure. He's known for his honesty, his straightforward approach, and his knack for getting the best deals at the local market. But these deals aren't the result of some secret business acumen or insider knowledge. Instead, they're the product of Jake's ability to appear less shrewd than he truly is. Jake's strategy is simple. He presents himself as a humble farmer, not a cunning businessman. He allows others to believe they're getting the better of him, that they're outsmarting him in their transactions. He lets them believe they're the ones in control. But in reality, it's Jake who's pulling the strings. It's Jake who's setting the terms, who's dictating the pace of the negotiations. He's the one who's truly in control, even as he maintains his guise of simplicity. Jake's story is a testament to the power of this 21st law of power. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. He's living proof that sometimes the best way to get ahead is to let others believe they're the ones in control. But how does Jake manage to turn the tables around? Let's delve deeper. Jake, with his humble demeanor, often finds himself underestimated. A fascinating character, Jake. He's not one to assert dominance or flaunt his intelligence. Instead, he takes a back seat, allowing others to take center stage, basking in their perceived superiority. It's an art of deception, and Jake has mastered it. In a world where everyone is in a constant battle to prove their worth, Jake chooses a different path. He plays the part of the unsuspecting, the naive, the one who needs guidance. He listens more than he speaks, nodding along, absorbing information, and allowing his counterparts to believe they are leading the conversation, the situation, the game. You see, Jake understands the power of perception. He knows that people like to feel superior, to feel in control, so he gives them that. He allows them to believe they have the upper hand, that they are the puppet masters, and he is merely the puppet. But what they fail to realize is that Jake is not playing to their tunes. He is, in fact, conducting the orchestra. This dance of deception is not about belittling himself or undermining his capabilities. No, it's about strategy. It's about keeping his cards close to his chest, making calculated moves, and waiting for the right moment to reveal his hand. The beauty of this approach is that it's disarmingly effective. People are so engrossed in their illusion of control that they are blindsided when the tables turn. They underestimate Jake, and that's their downfall. For in their underestimation, they expose their weaknesses, their strategies, their plans, and Jake, the ever-observant, takes note. The art of deception, as practiced by Jake, is a game of chess. It's about anticipating moves, about outwitting the opponent, about making them believe they are winning until the very end. It's about playing the fool to fool the king. But unbeknownst to them, Jake holds the true power in his hands. For in the end, the one who seems dumber is often the smartest player in the room. That is the art of deception. That is the power of playing the fool. In every interaction, there comes a crucial moment, a turning point. Picture this. Jake, our protagonist, is in the middle of a high-stakes negotiation. His opponent, a seasoned business tycoon, has been underestimating Jake from the get-go, dismissing him as a mere novice. While this could be a disadvantage, Jake decides to use it as his secret weapon. As the negotiation progresses, Jake remains unassuming and passive, allowing the tycoon to believe he has the upper hand. In reality, Jake is observing, learning, and planning his strategy. He's taking meticulous mental notes of his adversary's body language, the tone of voice, the subtle shifts in demeanor. Each perceived weakness of Jake's is, in fact, a carefully calculated move to keep his opponent in a false sense of security. Then comes the turning point. The tycoon, overconfident and eager to seal the deal, starts to reveal more than he should. letting slip a few crucial details about his company's financial situation. Jake, still playing the unsuspecting novice, seizes this golden opportunity. He subtly steers the conversation, exploiting the information he's just been handed on a silver platter. The tycoon, still lost in his arrogance, fails to realize the shift in dynamics. He continues to negotiate, not realizing he's now dancing to Jake's tune. Jake, maintaining his facade of naivety, manages to negotiate terms that are far more favorable to his side than anyone could have anticipated. He successfully turned the tables, using his opponent's underestimation of him to his advantage. In the end, the tycoon walks away, thinking he's won, completely oblivious to the fact that he's been outmaneuvered. Jake, on the other hand, knows he's just played a masterstroke, all while appearing to be the underdog. And just like that, Jake flips the script, leaving his adversary none the wiser. Now you may be wondering, how does Jake's story relate to you? Well, let's delve into the power of perception. Perception is a double-edged sword. It's how we interpret the world around us, but it's also how we can be misled, deceived, or manipulated. And here's the twist. We all have the power to influence perception. Yes, just like Jake. So, how does this play out in our daily lives? Think about it. We perceive others based on their appearance, their speech, their actions. But these perceptions can be, and often are, far from the truth. And yet, we make decisions, we form opinions, we take actions based on these perceptions. We're often led by what we see, or rather, what we think we see. Now let's flip the script. Imagine you're in Jake's shoes. He played the part, he seemed less knowledgeable, less threatening. He manipulated the perception others had of him to his advantage. This is where the power of perception comes into play. You see, but when people underestimate you, they let their guard down. They reveal things they wouldn't otherwise. They become vulnerable, and in that vulnerability you find your opportunity. But remember, this isn't about deceit or manipulation for personal gain at the expense of others. This is about understanding the power of perception and using it responsibly. It's about navigating the world with a deeper understanding of how our perceptions shape our reality. So consider this. What if you could influence how others perceive you? What if you could control the narrative, the story people tell themselves about you? How would that change your interactions, your opportunities, your life? This is the power of perception. It's not about what people see, it's about what they don't see. It's about the unseen potential, the underestimated strength, the overlooked advantage. And that's the lesson from Jake's story. It's not about playing the fool, it's about playing the game. It's about understanding how perception shapes reality and using that understanding to your advantage. Remember, the power lies not in what people see, but what they fail to see. So, what can we learn from the 21st law of power and Jake's story? First off, it's essential to remember that perception is everything. How others perceive us, and how we manage that perception, can make or break us in any situation. Jake's story illustrates this perfectly. He played the fool, allowing others to underestimate him, and in doing so, he gained an advantage. It's a valuable lesson in the art of strategic deception. The second key takeaway is the power of playing the fool. By appearing less intelligent or capable than we actually are, we can lure others into a false sense of security. They let down their guard, revealing vulnerabilities and giving us the opportunity to turn the tables. Jake played his cards close to his chest, keeping his true abilities hidden until the time was right. Moreover, the 21st law of power teaches us that power isn't always about being the loudest or the most visible. Sometimes power lies in subtlety and patience. Jake was patient, biding his time and only revealing his hand when he was sure of victory. Lastly, the law reminds us not to be afraid of being underestimated. In fact, it can be a powerful tool when used correctly. As Jake's story shows, being underestimated allowed him to catch his opponents off guard and ultimately triumph. Next time you find yourself underestimated, remember Jake and the 21st law of power. Harness the power of perception, and you might just have the upper hand.